Y'all, normally I would dance, but I can barely walk right now. I just ran 13 miles for no reason. 0 to 10, do not recommend.
I forgot about that. Yes, you're right. You just
0.
came back from California also?
Literally a half marathon at night. Beautiful, like 22,000 women. The greatest experience ever. Then mile 8, I was like, maybe it's not the greatest experience ever. So.
But look at everything that she had to do to come be with us. So thank you so much. Another big round of applause, guys. We're so excited to have her here. Thank you, Ari. So excited.
Your lip color has really inspired me to be better right now. Maybe I should throw on a red lip.
This is the only thing that I got going for me today.
Oh, gosh. We'll unpack that later.
Yes, thank you. All right. Now, Ari, we've known you for lighting up the sports world with your energy and your authenticity, right? I know we kind of gave you a little bit of a walk-up song, but if you had a 30-second hype video, what are the 3 things that you must have in it?
Probably how I open everything. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Arielle Chambers here. So that would be 1.
Good.
I would probably be doing back handsprings around the front because my sport was competitive cheerleading. And I would just have all my friends that I've interviewed in my entire career. So what's life without, the people that you talk to and get to know? And I just have a genuine curiosity for people, of people, to people. So yeah.
I love that. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of a job. If you create that video, you send that to Ari so she can share it.
Absolutely. I'll share it.
Amazing. Now, take us back when you were back in college, okay? I'm gonna start right up with it.
All right, go Pack.
The college Ari, walking around campus, what was she dreaming about? What did she want to do?
The college Ari. So this is completely, I will show you how my career pivoted. So when I was in college, I was a model. So I would fly up back and forth from Raleigh, North Carolina to New York. And I was doing that and I cheered at NC State. So it was a hard balance. Going into college, I wanted to be a defense attorney, but then I got a teaching fellow scholarship. Long story short, ended up majoring in English. So set out that to say, you can change. You can change your mind. You can pivot. You can be okay with being open-minded to new things coming. So collegiate Ari was like, I'm just here. I really respect education. I come from a family of educators. My dad went to Duke, so I rebelled and naturally went to NC State. But I knew that was what I needed to do to get in the door of places. But I also am a Pisces, and I was like, let me just go where life leads.
Good. Okay, so I love that.
I can only be myself, y'all.
Amazing. So, you were trying it out, figuring it out, but then what was the first job that you got right out of college?
Yeah,
was it media?
I don't think it's inappropriate. I don't think it's appropriate. But
please share it. It's okay.
I worked for Hennessy. But other than that, I was in the entertainment space for the Knicks, the Rangers, and the Liberty. So I was on the cheerleading squad for them. I did torch patrol. I was throwing shirts at y'all every night, doing back handsprings up and down the court. It was great. Back then we could stunt. It was great. And modeling paid my bills, right? Like people forget that modeling is a job, right? It wasn't just for Instagram. It paid my bills. And my agency put me in a model's department, so that's how I lived here. But knowing that I'm going in and out of the world's most famous arena at the time, the Liberty played at MSG, seeing the media discrepancy between the Knicks and the Liberty really rubbed me the wrong way. And I had several friends that played in the WNBA and all the access to the arena in the world and all the access to them because they're my homies, that I just started recording interviews with them and posting them online. And that's how my media job started. But when I moved up here, that wasn't the goal. The goal was not to be this innovative journalist to transform women's sports. It was, my friends aren't having their stories, so why not? It was the why not of it all.
Was that your it moment that you were like, I want to do this forever? Or
no, but who doesn't want to talk to their friends forever, right? I think that a lot of times with careers and passion points, we over-strategize how to just enter the space. Like, oh my God, I wish this. Every time that I said I wish something happened, I made it happen. Like, I wish I could jump from a plane, or I wish I could run a half. I wish that this storytelling can be told. There's nothing stopping you from doing exactly what you want to do. I took the long route. I only do women's sports. It's very intentional. So I've made life a lot harder for myself, especially before the past 5 years. It wasn't super bought into. And so I took the long route, and I'm not saying that everybody has the resources to do what I did, but I came here with nothing. I had to sell my instruments in order to pay my rent. I had to depend on team meals for eating, right? I sacrificed everything for the entry point to my job. And I had blind faith in myself because this vision was placed on my heart to continue to actively pursue it.
I love that. So what do you say are some of the things that they should start doing now for them to start pursuing that dream?
I would say stop waiting for your yes. So like don't sit around saying I wish I could. Just make it happen. I'm a big vision board girly, right? I do a vision board at the beginning of every year. I write it down. I separate it in 4 categories: personal, health, recreational, and finance. And then after I do that, I write a note to myself on the back of it as if it already happened. So that helps you even further visualize how you want it to be. And I don't check in with it often, but I do communicate it with my agent, which is something that I have the privilege of having. I have a great team around me, but I check in with her to make sure that these are the points that we want to make so we can make it happen. So if you don't have an agent or representation yet, you have accountability partners with your friends. You have people that you know that say, hold me accountable for these. These are the goals that I want. I've written them down. I can visualize how I want them to happen. Hold me accountable to make sure I'm working towards them.
I like that. And you mentioned something earlier too, which was about want to tell the stories of your friends. Yeah. But a lot of the times we are a little bit shy about asking them for like an interview or how to tell the story.
Why y'all in journalism?
Not all of them are in journalism.
Oh, okay, sorry. Gotta know my audience. Sorry.
That's okay. But even, I was also in journalism, and sometimes you're like, oh, this is a person that you don't know. What is the best way or tips that you have to like approach them to start interviewing them?
Believe it or not, I'm extremely introverted. I'm the only child and only grandchild. So the way I break the barrier.
See?
Yeah, but shy is never something that I would say. I have a curiosity of people, but to break the barrier of conversation, I would just say approach people as humans. A lot of people see talent in athletes as anything other than human, but if you can just simplify your strategy within the world to just conversation and meeting people where they are, you'll be shocked at how open people will be with you.
I like that. Now, you have a coined phrase. The WNBA is so important. Raise your hand if you heard that before. She did that. She said that.
Thanks to all 7 of y'all. That's so great to me.
So it's quite important. Tell me, did you know that it was going to take off as big as it did?
Yeah, no. I simply captured a video in 2016 when Swin Cash was a camp counselor at the junior NBA clinic, and she was singing the song from Sister Act, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. And I posted it online, and I said, the WNBA is so important. And then I was like, oh, okay. Next time when I see a player hand off shoes, I'm like, oh, the WNBA is so important. So it just something that became habit. It wasn't like I'm trying to create the 25th anniversary campaign, which it ended up being, but like that wasn't. I think that a lot of times when you look at things back, right? You're like, oh my God, I did this, and everybody's like, how'd you do it? It is the oversimplification of just calling things what they are and filling the space. Like, I just saw Swin sing to these babies, and I'm like, yes, the WNBA is so important. I just said what it is, posted how I felt, and then stayed consistent with it.
I love that. But now tell me, because Ari, I've been speaking with you for a little bit over 10 minutes, and your energy is so big, and you fill up a room.
Thank you.
And you're authentic and you're yourself. And a lot of the times our students don't have that. We're trying to figure out what that is like, or how can they also fill up space, ask questions, networking. What is the advice that you have for them to grow that and be authentic?
I can tell within 5 seconds if somebody's confident or not. I look at your body language. I look at your eye contact. It's funny because when I was growing up, I would be in church with my mom, and I would stand on my tippy toes. Mind you, I'm 5 feet at 8 years old. So she's like, Ari, you're going to be tall enough. But I wanted to be taller. I always wanted to take up space. And that was something that I think that I was born with. But if you're one of those people that don't like to take up space, then you have to question yourself, like, why are you here, right? Like, if you're not here to take up space, then what are you actually doing? You're wasting your time, and you're wasting everybody else's time around you. And so you have to carry that mentality with you when you're at the table. You either serve or you get eaten. So you need to make sure that you bring something to the table once you get invited, because you will be, and make room for other people around you too. But I can't tell y'all how to be confident. Whatever works for you. If you want to get your Issa Rae on and start spitting in the mirror like I'm that girl, or Shout out to my allies back there. If I'm that guy, I don't know what y'all be talking about. But anyway, whatever mantra that you need to say to yourself to keep you confident and keep you grounded and know that you belong in these rooms, and you need to step in and command the room, because it's easy to forget people. You meet people every day. You want to make sure you're unforgettable.
All right, and just to go a little bit step further, as women, how can we do that even more? How can we stand up in rooms that are usually, especially in sports, for males?
Again, like, confidence isn't something that I'm going to teach you all. I want you to be aware that if you don't have it, people will know. And if we're already at a disadvantage, I was talking to Merritt Mathias earlier. I had a panel with her at Tribeca. And she was saying how people in marginalized groups face tension. So whether you're a woman, whether you're a person of color, whether you're queer, you're going to face certain levels of tension. And you have to be so grounded within yourself so that when that tension happens, you can overcome. You can find comfort in it and find your people within it. And that doesn't come if you don't know who you are. And so when you enter these spaces, just know you're already at a disadvantage if you are a woman, just historically, but you have the advantage of being assured. You have the advantage of being able to project your maternal vibe, your aura, to the room. And it's to my advantage that I'm a woman. It's to my advantage that I'm secure in myself, and it's to my advantage that I know who I am.
I like that. And then you founded something which is Highlight Her, which is now Be Our Women's Sport.
Yeah.
What does it actually take to found something like that?
Gallons of coffee a day. No.
Pause.
No. It takes wanting to... This is a very vague question. I want to answer it really actionably. It took 2.5 years of sleepless nights for me to even get it off the ground. It took me DMing lots of people I knew in the sports world and people who I knew followed sports. I went through other people's followings just to see who followed which account, and then say, hey, my name is Ari. I am starting this platform. Follow it. And then it takes intention and passion as well. So when I first founded Highlighter, it was a space for all girls and women in sport, no matter the age level, ability, or sport, to tell their stories. So there are other highlights pages, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do storytelling. I wanted to do hey, I might do this interview with Candace Parker, but I'm also showcasing the girl down the block. You know, it never was exclusive in that way. It was a community for people. And it took 2.5 years for us to finally go to market, which is where, it starts being profitable. And then I found, because the mission was so strong, I found alignment with partners. And one of our first partners were Zell. And what we did was we applied the principles of what Highlighter was and put it in the community. So I wanted it to be a community. So Zell and Highlighter came together and painted murals of select players in their hometown or a town that means a lot to them, and donated $10,000 to the youth group that was affiliated with that. And that really made me happy. It transformed the platform and made it beyond just something that's virtual. I think another platform that does it really well is Together. I think that they have really gotten the community energized and really, on the forefront for women's sports. And so whenever you can have a passion, harness that, set a goal for it, execute, and do it persistently, then it creates success.
Very good. And since we're talking about women in sports, I want to get more into that. How do you get, there we go. How do you actually start? What are some of the things they should be doing while in college or when they graduate? Now that social media, do you think it's important? Should they build a presence? All the tips to get you to your level.
Okay, so I can only speak from a journalist because that's what I am. I love to establish a brand. So I know when you go to my page, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting women's sports, you're getting women's empowerment, and you're getting heavy doses of activism and advocacy, right? So that is something that I can maintain. It's true to me. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I love it. I would do it without getting paid to do it. And that's what you can find me for. And I'm consistent. I curate my content to be a landing page for all things that. Forgot the question. Can you ask it one more time?
talking about how they get to become.
Okay. And so when I first started broadcast, I had no experience, but you fake it till you make it, or you prepare until you make it. And so I just set up my phone next to people and interviewed them. Literally, it doesn't have to be a huge network and all these cameras. For those of you who are still in school, if you want to be a broadcaster, find somebody who's in film so they can film you. Find a producer, find an editor. There are so many people around the university that can collaborate to make magic. I didn't have that because my career didn't start till I was 28. So I put my phone in the away team hotel rooms every time my friends came into town, recorded us, put it on YouTube, and kept doing it. That's how I started. I started because I didn't want to wait for a huge production company. I didn't want to wait for my yes. And then I just kept going. And when those times I couldn't sit in front of them, I would write about them. So I got a small side job. Shout out to Howard Megdal. He gave me my first job at Fansided, and I started writing because somebody told me over a decade ago, hey, you were a cheerleader. Nobody's going to take you seriously with your basketball knowledge. So I was like, oh, yeah? Let me write about it. And they can't tell me that I don't know the game of basketball if I write about it and tell y'all the game of basketball. And then it just grew from there. When I started Highlighter, I was talking about the discrepancy between women's basketball salaries and men. And then my friend who played professional softball said we get paid $5,000 a season. I said, oh, God, we have so much to cover. So I decided to open it up to all women. And that's something that I was eager to stretch on. And so it just kept being learning experience after learning experience, growth moment after growth moment to make sure that I continue to grow with where women's sports is too.
So you see, Ari didn't wait for her moment. She created it.
I hate waiting for people. It's like, it's so exhausting to me.
Good. I love that. Which is why we tried as best to start on time.
I think lateness is a character flaw, but we are on time. So I love that. No, but just in general, I can't stress enough that if you are innovative in a space, nobody's going to get it. So you can't expect people to sign up and be on board with doing the things that you want to do if they have never seen it before. The real change makers are disruptive. So you have to be disruptive in the space, but nobody's going to help you be disruptive in the way you want it to be because nobody's going to have that vision. They haven't seen it yet, right? So start it up, make it happen. And then once you're proving yourself right, everybody's like, oh, what's she doing? Or what are they doing? What's he doing? And they'll start pouring into you.
And also that showcase that you're the biggest advocate for yourself. You believe in yourself. You have the confidence. And then people are going to be attracted to that.
Whenever my mentees aren't confident, I'm like, why would I believe in you if you can't even believe in yourself? Like, I'm not going to invest in something that's shaky. Like, that's like business school 101. You're not going to invest in a fragile product. Get your strength up.
Very important.
Yeah.
Good. Another cool thing out of all the awesome things that you've done is the Wilson plus the WNBA basketball that you helped design. Apart from being merch and something that is very unique, what is the impact that it made?
So Wilson approached me in 2021 to do a signature collaboration ball with the WNBA, them and myself. And it was a ball that held, really near and dear to my heart. I was able to represent Raleigh. Like, I'm born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I had a map of Raleigh on the side as the textile on it. I had 919 and 917. It was really cute, like that whole blend. I had a dash of NC State there. I wanted to have an open box so that anybody can define themselves how they wanted to. So it was representative of all communities. I made it a very gender neutral color. It was black and copper. And so it was just something very chic, very cool, very open and inviting. And it's funny because I thought that it would stop at the ball, but then I also am the host for Junior WNBA, and so we do camps around the country with the league. And I just asked them, just on a whim, I was like, can we bring this to my high school? So I was able to bring Junior WNBA to my high school and have Wilson sponsor that clinic with my basketballs. And it was just a very full circle moment and a culmination of everything that I worked to. And I was really proud of me, and I was really proud of just being able to show that people don't have to buy into it initially for it to be a successful thing.
Very nice. And now you can definitely go out and find the basketball and continue
In
supporting.
the Wilson store, right there in Soho. Well, we're in Brooklyn. We're right.
You should check it out. Absolutely. So we're talking about visibility, change, progress, things that you've been a visionary for.
Yep.
But then in order for us to make it in media, we also need allies.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit more about that. How would you say, or what would you say to some of the folks, especially the men in media, that they could show up and actively support the women that are in sports, and maybe they're able, many media usually get higher positions or higher pay rates. What should they say so they can also support us?
Whenever you are in a position of privilege and power, you need to be empowering the people who aren't. So whatever that looks like, no matter the gender, race, sexuality, you need to be looking out for the oppressed groups, because everybody benefits when it's inclusive. Period. You have a wider scope of things. You have a bigger scale that you can scale towards. You have a better moral, sense in general, and the creative juices get flowing. So if you are in a position where you can put somebody on, do that. Period.
Okay, since we're talking about allies, I want to also mention mentors, right?
Yeah.
People in your life that had maybe boosted a little bit of the work that you're doing. Can you tell me what's the best piece of advice or your best mentor?
Well, I'll tell you, LaChina Robinson, I walked up to her like over a decade ago, and I was like, "You're my goals personified. I want to be you." And she was like, "You're ridiculous." But then she was like, "Take down my number. I know who you are." And I followed her around Atlanta the entire season and figured out what I wanted to do. This is before Rising Media Stars. And so I was just tagging along, but I also helped her out too. So mentorship, mentee and mentor relationships are very important, but it should be a certain level of reciprocity there. Like if you have somebody who's older and you know that they need to be a little bit more relevant on social media, help them out. If you know that somebody is overwhelmed with their job, help them out. Just like they pour into you, you should be pouring into them. So as LaChina's running around trying to get ready for the game, I'm over here getting her food because I'm like, I know she hasn't eaten today and she's been so focused on me. Or whenever Carrie Champion or Roz is pouring into me, I'm like, hey, have you, downloaded TikTok? Like, do you know what that is? Kind of thing. So it's a matter of a give and take. Make sure that when you do have a mentor, y'all communicate exactly what you want from them. I have turned people down from being their mentor because I don't want that to be empty. I want, whenever there's a mentorship opportunity, that I can be additive to your life and that I can give everything that you need from me. So if you ask for a mentor in the future, communicate what you want from them, right? We're busy people. We're very busy hour by hour. You would never believe. But when you walk up to somebody, know exactly what you want from them. And if they're like, no, don't take it personally. It's just them trying to protect your peace and time.
And how would you approach someone to become their mentee?
To become, if I wanted a mentor?
Or if they want you to be their mentor?
It's a case by case basis. There's no blueprint to it, and I really feel vibes too. I know if I can work with somebody or not. There's this one girl. So when I was with Warner Brothers Discovery and still with Highlighter, we had this cohort called Elevate Her, which is a cohort that's 15 girls and or women, and we train them up to be in media, no matter what aspect of media. But there was this one girl, Gracie, Lord Gracie. From second one, she was just so overzealous, and that is typically so jarring to me. But something about her was just so passionate, so consistent, and it was authentically her. It wasn't forced. It wasn't fabricated at all. She walked up to me after and she was like, "You're gonna be my big sister." I was like, "Oh goodness gracious, Gracie." But Gracie never went away. But she was always helpful, right? She was always helpful. And whenever she needed advice, I just knew how passionate she was. So she sold me on her passion. She sold me on her vision. And now I helped her get a job with U.S. Soccer. So now she works for U.S. Soccer. She's set. She's traveling around the world. I love that for her. But little Gracie, just if you got nothing from that story, because it was kind of empty, just know that your enthusiasm and your passion and your direction for yourself can really sell somebody on wanting to be in your life.
And shines through, absolutely.
It does.
So after the panel, I don't want you to be Gracie and not let Ari go.
I will be very direct and be like, I gotta go. Even though I don't, I'm going to the
Yes.
game tonight.
But you can start thinking about ways to like be impactful, and
Yeah.
not just to Ari, to all the people that you've met today.
Yeah.
So we talked about positive moments, all the great things that you've done, but I'm sure there's gonna be some hiccups and some foggy times. Can we talk a little bit more about those and how you overcame them and
Yeah.
how that made you today, the person you are today?
Every single day in modeling, I heard no. So like I would go to 6 castings a day and would hear no, literally every single one of them. And I'm like, hey, agent, can you, what gives? Anyway, she's like, it's just what the client wants. And so modeling primed me for knowing that I just need that one yes. Again, didn't wait for it, but just knowing that I just needed that one yes. When I first started out, I have never been the conventional journalist. I don't subscribe to having to be sterile and rigid. I always wanted it to feel like you're talking to your friend. And so that made life, again, harder and my career longer, like to ascend than somebody who was a traditional journalist. And again, if you're innovative, people don't buy into it initially, right? And so I remember vividly in 2018, I thought I got my shot. I was like, this is great. I was hosting the WNBA draft, and I was so happy about it. And I did it, thought I killed it. The players loved it. It was great. But the person who was in charge at the time was like, she's too unpolished. And I took that so devastatingly, right? I'm like, what does unpolished mean? And it was even more hurtful to me because it was coming from a woman. And it got around back to me because the people in the league office respected me enough to tell me what was going on. And I remember being devastated about that. And then I applied to a social media position at the WNBA. Mind you, I had trained up half of their social team. And and this was, again, 7-8 years ago. And they told me that I wasn't the right fit. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not the right fit? I literally made the fit. I dug the hole. How am I not the piece of the... Anyways. So I went on and on, but I called LaChina and I was devastated, right? And she said, you can cry for 24 hours, then get it together. And I was like, okay, well, let me go so I can have all 24. Thank you. But if I would have gotten that job, I would have never found a highlighter. I would have been in a position where I would have been working for somebody and I would have been in a box. And I don't know what would have happened if I wasn't able to experience entrepreneurship in 2018. I don't know what the landscape of women's sports, frankly, is like. I didn't do this individually, but I do know the impact that made on the landscape. So imagine if I would have gotten what I thought I wanted, it would have been completely different. So you just have to know that these no's are redirections, and don't ever be afraid to pivot. Don't ever be afraid to just be like, okay, whatever you believe in, universe, God, whatever. Okay, this is what I'm dealt. I'm gonna have to play the hand, and just play the hand and work hard and keep your principles and morals intact, and you'll be just fine.
And it's okay to cry for the 24 hours.
24 hours, weep, honey. Starfish on the floor, ah! You know, the whole thing.
Ari keeps on mentioning journalism, and I'm also a journalist. I started out as a journalist, but now I do more of the marketing. But one of the things I wanted, is important to mention is that journalisms are skills and communication are skills that are adaptable to other careers. So knowing how to speak, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to present, knowing how to interview, that applies all around the media industry. So I would be taking a lot of notes down, even if you're not into journalism, okay? Now, Ari, tell me, where do you see it as the greatest opportunity right now in sports media, and the students should be going right now to grab those opportunities to stand out?
Just tell the stories you want to tell, period. I mean, I wish I had a longer answer for you. I don't. I think that there is now an appetite for storytelling within women's sports. I think there's an appetite for storytelling beyond the game. I think there's appetite for storytelling within the game, right? Just now that we have social media, you can take ownership of the stories that you tell, and you have the opportunity to scale up in ways we haven't seen in the past. So platforms are going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to have opportunities to get work out there in front of people. Utilize that. And because you're in the digital age, and you know, I was a new communication media major, and that was before Instagram existed, right? So I didn't have the benefit of growing up with Instagram or TikTok, but that adaptability happened for me. But you all are in the age where you went through college and post-grad life with these social media platforms that allow people to consume your content without the red tape.
Yeah, and this is super important because sometimes when I'm looking to hire event interns or fellows for our organization, and if you don't know anything about social media, posting a reel, an Instagram post, or even what Canva is, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to look at the other one who does know that. So it is quite important because you should be having the skills that we're using today.
Yeah, and another way of manifesting is like shaping your show. I'm not saying be fake or anything, but I'm saying like shape your social media how you want to shape it. Make sure you can maintain it. But if people can see you, envision you in these places because you just so happen to post about them, I mean, that's your business.
And we do check them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I would handle carpets. I would interview on carpets, and then I would post the content. I would take the pictures, and I would be present and showcase that I am here. Then I started getting invited to walk carpets instead of working the carpets. Then I'm always present at games. Like I do the media thing at games, like back in the day. Like now I'm on broadcast, but I was in the scrums. I love a scrum. The best advice my dad ever gave me was elbow people, but no, don't. He literally was like, get in there. I was like, Dad, there's so many people. He's like, elbow them. I was like, bet. So I would go to the front and be the loudest. Anyway, but I was at these places, and so people said, oh, she can handle this chaos. She can handle live TV. And it just was a escalation but they wouldn't have known that if I didn't post it. They wouldn't have known that if I wasn't present. They wouldn't have known that if I didn't tell them that. So you have to communicate what you want to be a part of.
100%. So I'm going to ask Ari 2 more questions before I open it up to Q&A. But I'm going to invite you guys to start lining up on the mic right here on my left-hand side to your right. I'm going to ask that you please introduce yourself, mention what school you just went to or recently graduated. And then when I open it up, we'll start asking Ari some of the questions.
Okay.
Ari, if you could reimagine sports media for the next generation, what it would look like, sound like, that you'd be like, I love it, I'm never leaving, even though it's already.
All viewpoints, all walks of life, all stories, not dependent on 5 or 10 players, having all players' voices heard and everybody telling the stories.
Beautiful. And then best piece of advice you've ever gotten that you want to like give it back to them.
Never be satisfied with being the first or the only. So, yes, it's an honor to make history being the first, but if you're at 2025 being the first, that's questionable. And you don't want to be the only one doing something or the only one in the room because there is so much strength in numbers. There's so much strength in looking to your left and your right and knowing you have somebody to have your back or you can have theirs. And though one is a whole number, which I really stand by in life, I do think that there's no way to make it to the top by yourself. You have got to lean on people. You have got to weave this web so that you can have a nice, net to fall back on.
Very true. So be yourself. Have the confidence. Go if you don't get the opportunity or you don't get
elbow.
Yes.
Be loud.
Make sure you make it happen. Absolutely. And then you have allies. You have to have support to grow.
And I know I've been talking very lightly about everything, but preparedness. If you're prepared for something, the only time I've ever gotten anxious before an assignment is when I'm not prepared. So it's cute that I can get into these rooms and things like that. It's cute that I can literally charm my way through anything, but you best believe, I have an education. I can study film like a pro. I'm literally a student of the game and a student of life. I'm receptive of things that people tell me. I am willing to move and mold in a constructive way if I need to move and mold in a constructive way. I'm never the one who is just standing and not just so unmoved, right? You want to continue to be a student in the game and a student of life and be prepared.
And we notice when you're not prepared.
Oh yeah, and the internet will, and that's another thing. When you get into the opinion space of media in general, the internet will try to eat you up, right? But if you know that you're prepared for that subject and you can argue down anybody, it's cute for you. It's just engagement.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's give Ari a big round of applause for the amazing interview. Thank you so much, Ari. Now, let's bring our first question. Please introduce yourself and school, and then go ahead and ask a question.
Hi, Ari.
Hi, Buki.
I am Oladoyan.
Who does great work online. If you don't follow her, you should.
Thank you. I graduated last year from Marymount Manhattan. I was a musical theater major and communication and media arts.
The pipeline from musical theater to sports is kind of crazy.
It is crazy, actually.
Okay, sorry.
I think it's crazy that you kind of went in that direction, talking about like being in the opinion space, because one thing that I'm finding is like being a front-facing person who always has to be on, is that I kind of have trouble navigating like when to like step back and like take space for yourself, right? Especially, I think that one thing that I really love about your work is that it's almost like you're like a liaison, like you bridge the gap between like something like ESPN, you know, as an institution and the players as human beings, you know? And I think that really shows through your work that players are comfortable around you and they trust you when it's time to have important conversations. And I think that being in the opinion space, especially as a Black woman, especially right now with women's sports being on the rise, I guess I'm wondering, how do you know when to take a step back and choose you, and what are some ways that you prioritize your mental health, and when you are someone who has pioneered so much within the women's sports space, knowing when to say, okay, well, I don't want to be strong in this room, you know, and I just want to like be on the beach and take some time to myself.
Because one thing about me, I will go surfing. No, I would say, especially when you are front-facing, you're going to be subject to everybody's opinion. Knowing when to log out. When you feel depleted, when you feel tired, when it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it. Log out. Every time you feel like this feels icky, I've had people that are in my corner that I was in a very toxic situation career-wise a little while ago, and I had one of my closest people say, this is what this job is making you do? And it had to be that reality check, but I wouldn't have had that if I didn't have people who knew me and knew me well. At ESPN, we have a really good group of girls. It was me, Andrea, Elle, Chanae, Monica, Angel, LaChina. We all have a group chat. And it's very cute for us, and Christine. We have a group chat. It's so cute because we keep each other motivated and inspired, and we have the similar journeys, like with navigating people's opinions of us all the time and being in the position that we're in. And so without people who have your shared experience, it's really difficult. But once you find those who are journeying life with you, make sure that they hold you accountable for staying true to you, and don't overcomplicate when you need rest, because burnout is very real. And I'm still recovering from years and years of taking those punches, and I don't wish these punches on anybody. But because I am so, I have absorbed a lot of that, can't nobody tell me nothing. And I'm going to keep standing like that. But log out when you feel like it feels icky, and keep people around you to keep you honest about it. But for you, you're going to only scale up because you're so visible and you're so consistent with your I can only speak to her because I know her, but like with your content. But I'm just going to let you know, people are crazy and nobody prepares you for that. So you have to know that their opinion doesn't matter. If they cannot dictate how you move through life, don't let them penetrate you at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's quite important because you pointed out, again, into journalism, or if you're front-facing, but media is a very tough industry, and you have to have thick skin.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just thick skin. You almost have to have an armor, but I don't ever... Laysia Clarendon told me in 2017, don't let the world make you cold. And that is what stuck with me. You cannot let the external factors penetrate you in a way that it takes you away from your character. I know when to step away when I can't get out of bed, when I'm like, I don't want to do this because I live for this, right? So that's when I'm like, come on, bring my dog. We go on the water. We paddle out. It's definitely never here because this water is questionable. I'm from the South. I don't know what y'all got in here. But like, we might just like fly out to Hawaii and just hit up the North Shore. And thank God I have surf friends that I used to cover. We gonna paddle out. We gonna have fun. But these are the things that I have the privilege to do. But whatever fills your cup, fill your cup. Take care of that mental though. It's crazy out here.
Very important. Let's go with our next question.
Hi, nice
Hi,
to
Vicky.
meet you. I'm Julia. I graduated a couple years ago from the University of Toronto, and I really needed to hear you today. I'm feeling very inspired, especially about like not waiting for anyone to give you your yes, charting your own path. But I'm also a little bit older and I'm staring down, 26 and I need health insurance and like I need a retirement plan.
Same, girl, same.
Right? So my question, I would love to be in sports. I have my eyes set on working for the Toronto Tempo. That's my dream. So I'm going to make it
reached out to Monica or any of them?
No, I'm stalking everyone on LinkedIn right now and like trying to figure it out. Okay, Monica what?
Monica Wright.
Okay.
She's like the head of everything.
Okay, thank you.
Don't tell her.
Don't tell her. Yeah.
Don't tell her I
won't.
sent you. This is off the record.
Found her on my own. But I guess my question is sort of like, when we're working on charting our own paths and making our name for ourselves, are there specific things that you think we can be doing to enable ourselves to best step into a legacy?
Julia, what do you want to do?
Well, a lot of things. I want to do like media strategy for a women's basketball team, or I want to be in children's entertainment.
Okay. I want you to stay there because when I'm going to answer your question, but when I was pursuing sports media, I never was like, I want to work for ESPN or I want to work for Turner or Warner Brothers Discovery. Sorry, WBD. But like, I never was like, I want to work for this specific place because you are disposable. They can throw you away the next day. Contracts expire, right? You want to stay rooted in your passion and your mission. You don't ever want to marry yourself to that. I respect that you want to work for the Toronto Tempo. Like, love it. Great goal. But bring that, your core mission to wherever you go. Now, what's your question?
What are the things as we chart our own paths that we can be doing to better set ourselves up if we want to transition into like a legacy media company or into like a more formal organization?
Yeah. Know how to write.
Okay.
Know how to write. Writing is the core to anything, whether that's you in broadcast, you in marketing, you in social media, you in whatever else, I don't know, in the business sectors, whatever. But knowing how to write and communicate in a succinct and pithy way is really important. So start there. It helps if you have a strong brand, and that doesn't mean you have to be an influencer. Let me be very clear. When I say have a brand about you, you don't have to be, I don't know, Alex Earl out here, right? You can be Julia, and we just know we can go to Julia for things. So establish something that people know that you can be the go-to for, and do things like this. Networking. Let me tell you a story. You didn't ask for this, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Good.
So, Fashion Week about 10 years ago, I was just, I went to a Foot Locker event and was just treating people like people, just having conversation. And some woman asked me like what I love. And I was like, I love women's sports. I love women in sports. I love storytelling around it. I was very like succinct in the way I communicated my passion. She just so happened to be the global communications manager of Foot Locker. And then started taking me on brand trips. And then I became a model for Foot Locker. And then I ended up working alongside them and was able to have brand deals with them, all because I had a conversation at this random event that I went to. So go be present at these events, know how to write and brand yourself.
Thank you. See you at the game tonight.
Yeah, see you at the game,
Yeah.
Pookie. They play the Sky, right? Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, Ari. I'm
Hi.
Liza. I graduated from NYU last year.
You said Eliza?
Liza.
Liza, no
yeah,
E.
no
Okay.
E. I graduated from NYU last year, and I've actually worked with teams, all men's teams. I could be the only person in the room that cares about this, but you brought up softball. So we're seeing in college, the House settlement obviously just got approved. Athletes are suing for more eligibility. Do you think this is going to impact professional women's sports? Because we have seen athletes stay in college longer because they're making more money.
Liza, babe, I'm so worried about NIL. I'm so worried about the lack of regulation and how there just needed to be tighter legislation around it in general. I actually work with the Women's Sports Foundation. I'm on their board, and we lobby every year on Capitol Hill about different things. And NIL is something that it's in development. Is answering your question. It will impact the way women approach the professional sports space because the desired compensation for your work is going to be skewed once you go into pros because it kind of levels the playing field. There's no level playing field for college right now because you have some schools that have billions and some schools who don't. And you're going to see conferences are going to become obsolete. This is like a whole thing. Like I could write.
Oh, no, I love this. Like, thank you so much.
Like maybe this is a story for a different day. But conferences are going to become obsolete because people won't be able to afford to continue to be competitive within a Power 4 conference. We see it now, it's Power 4, not Power 5. And so I think that regulation needs to happen before we even go further down NIL. I think it's great that athletes are getting compensated for their likeness, but I do think that there needs to be a tighter regulation on spending and make sure that it's sports outside of football get the same amount so that we're still honoring Title IX. It's a whole thing. Like, we don't have time for right now. But Liza, keep fighting the good fight. Keep doing your research on it. It's an ever-growing thing right now, and it's a very big topic of conversation because it even goes to how you identify women's sports or what sports are profitable, what aren't. And within the Power 5 conferences, the elite programs or the elite schools within that, like the ACC, top to bottom, is not all elite in women's basketball. We were talking about softball. Like field sports in general, there are certain conferences that are better than others. And so you just have to really look into that too. There's no way to universally regulate it right now.
Thank
you.
That's a good story to write. Maybe that's like your breakthrough.
Jesus Christ. If I had the time, it was a whole thesis.
There we go. Our next question, please.
Hi, I'm Olivia, recent
Olivia.
graduate of the School of Visual Arts. It seems that everyone, including you, keep telling me that recruiters use social media to find applicants, and that I'm autistic and I'm not on social media because it overstimulates me. Do you have any advice?
Of course, boo. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a portfolio. So whether that's a website that you don't have to be on all the time or just something that has proof of concept with your body of work so that you can show that you can write, or what do you want to do?
I want to write.
Okay, so start writing. So my suggestion for you is whatever you see that you want to write about, make maybe a website that can show that. And it doesn't have to be publicized for likes and views. It could just show how you can communicate the storytelling. And then your best friend, if you do decide to do social media, will be LinkedIn, right? So you're going to just send your portfolio or email people your work. But don't do anything that pushes you outside of what makes you comfortable. Just make sure that you have a body of work to show somebody.
Okay, I am on LinkedIn. I am
Good.
doing that. Yeah.
You're doing great. Listen, social media, don't get into it. It's not going to be for everybody. Not everybody needs to consume that. It can be very dangerous. It's a slippery slope. It's just, for me personally, it was the easiest way to get in the public eye. But for you, you know what works for you and what doesn't. So start maybe a Substack or a .com situation where you can get your work across and people can appreciate it.
Thank you so very much.
Of course, boo.
Thank you. Let's go with our next question.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Julian Torres. I'm a recent graduate of Lehman College. I'm also a journalism major.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, as someone who's trying to get their foot in the door and really just start their career in sports journalism, what would your advice be to someone who's trying to break out, either that be through a podcast or just making videos on TikTok or Instagram? Like, what would your advice be to someone who feels like, you know, podcasts are oversaturated and there's so many and they're just trying to like stand out?
So you feel like podcasts are oversaturated?
I
No, you can stand by it. I'm asking.
No, I feel like that there's just so many podcasts, specifically for what I want to cover. That
So what do you want to cover? How do you want to cover it?
mainly baseball.
Okay. And how do you see yourself covering it?
Through TikTok and podcasts.
So then it looks like you have an internal conflict here. I'm serious. So start the podcast. It can be cringe at first to you, to nobody else. Because here's the thing. Like podcasts and radio, like nobody's like, oh my God, there are too many radio stations, right? Like You're never like, oh my God, this is oversaturated with the waves on the FM or X, whatever, because I don't drive anymore. But like you're never saying that, right? And so somebody can get information for you, and the best vehicle to do that for you said it, you think the podcast and TikTok. So do podcasts and TikTok. I remember 2014, I was talking to my friend, And I was like, man, I want to start YouTube, but like, I just think that's so oversaturated. I was like, I think it's so oversaturated. Do you know, I wish I could go back and start my YouTube in 2014. Oh my gosh. Like, just imagine how many followers I would have from then, like knowing the way my career went. But because I was like, oh, no, that's too many people in it. That's too many people involved. It stopped me. I blocked my blessing in that way. Granted, am I blessed in other ways? Abundantly. But it's just a matter of get over the whole cringe aspect of everything and do what you can do now. So if it's audio only or if it's like vodcast style, go ahead and put it out. And at bare minimum, you're going to get comfortable speaking about the topic that you're passionate about. And you're going to be able to hear what you like about yourself and change what you don't and know how you deliver a message. And the first few times that I started being on camera, I noticed like, oh, I don't like that. I can do this differently. And it just helps you with your reps for when you do get signed to whoever and you blow up. It's going to be great because you'll already be comfortable. Do those TikToks.
And I also agree too. There is a lot of content and you're consuming a lot, but find your unique way. What is your unique perspective to tell that story that's gonna make it stand out? What is when you're talking with your friends, what is like, oh, I'm gonna go to Julian because he always knows about this, and focus on that. And that will make it easier for you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You'll be shocked how like when people start receiving it well, it's good.
Absolutely.
Less cringe to you when your audience likes it.
Amazing. Come up with our next question.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm a student at Rutgers University. I feel like my question's kind of mixed of everyone else's. So I have a thing for media. It's not sports related. It's more like TikTok related kind of thing. What would be your advice to like find your brand, so to say, like to make your like personality there and like be able to see yourself out there more for like hiring managers?
What do you want to communicate?
Just like media, because like I used to like want to be an actor. I want to like be a writer, like for music, for books, like that kind of stuff. Like how to like expand my brand more about that.
Showcase your process. Showcase your strengths on your social media. This is like a possibly a one-on-one consultation, but
Okay.
whatever you put out is what people are going to perceive. So I can't tell you how to brand yourself right now because I don't know you, right? I just met you 3 seconds ago. But you said you want to act. Maybe if there are any monologues you can recite, or if you have any work that you can put on TikTok, or just the memorization process, that fascinates me. Or whoever you want to appeal to with your hiring managers, just put your best foot forward and do it often. That's the best way to brand yourself. Showcase. You don't have to box yourself in, especially when you're building your brand and like building your niche. You don't have to create this box around you. My friend, actually, she's like very prominent in sports media. Sorry to relate it back to sports, but she was like, everybody just thinks I'm a sports influencer, but I want to sports broadcast too. And I was like, who's stopping you from broadcasting? And she realized it was herself. So you got to just not box yourself in, put out anything and everything that you want and see what sticks, see what appeals to people and go with it. But also stay true to you. You don't have to narrow it down. I never narrowed it down. If you go to my page, it's halfway, sports, then I got modeling, then I just randomly just decided to be an athlete again and started running again. It's just like, I don't have to narrow it down, but you know that you're going to feel, I want you to feel empowered when you leave my page, whatever that looks like. And I think that's what I communicate.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But going back to Ari, the best thing is to start making it happen. Don't wait. Good. Let's go with our last question. No pressure.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I work at a PR firm. I've been there for about 3 years now. I work in policy communications, but I recently had a client who kind of works in the intersection between policy, sports, women's sports specifically. And I'm finding it a little bit challenging to come up with pitch ideas and just ideas in the space. We've got some sports people on our team, but for me personally, I'm curious, since we're so early in the season, what are the stories that you think are missing in the media right now when it comes to women's sports?
Well, I'm gonna address
Basketball specifically.
Take the job from you.
You said what?
She's trying to take the job from
That's fine. I would say with your client specifically, women's sports is such an open space. So find out what your client likes, and that's how you pitch. Like, for example, Dejanay Carrington, she's with my agency, right? And everybody's looking at her like, oh my God, this makeup is staying on forever and ever and ever. How do you do that? And she got a brand deal with One Size. But just knowing who she is as a human and like what people receive from her and what she naturally likes to do, the agency pitched her to that client, and it worked. So figure out your client's interests. But as far as storylines within women's basketball, I'm very interested in the personal branding of Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann. They've been stud buds every night at 6 p.m. They stream on Twitch because they just love to show us their lives unprovoked. And so they do it every day except for game days. And so that's a storyline, how you take ownership of your story and really like broadcast. Then after stud buds, we have Marina and Sanaya. Who knew when they formed a friendship? Whatever, and that's not my business. But like also keeping us entertained through the night. So that's another way to that I am drawn to the women's game. So I'm looking at how athletes are able to own their stories this season as opposed to us telling it as traditional media. I'm also interested to see how much more investment comes within the league this year. But I don't think that there's reason to be hesitant on the landscape of investment within women's sports right now or pitch ideas, because all you have to do is just listen to your client, listen to what they want to do. I don't know what type of, like...
The Liberty.
Oh, the team?
Yeah.
Well, Liberty Bibbity, I'm like, y'all big struck gold. Like, I mean, what are we doing? There's no better partnership than Liberty and Liberty. Like, and then you have Natasha Cloud always saying Liberty Bibbity. But just talking to the individual athletes, like, you know, Stewie has what bag is Stewie wearing now? Now I think that she can have a signature bag. I'm giving away a free game, but, you know, it is what it is. Natasha Cloud, she needs her own crop top, right? You have Leo. I just want to know about her. So maybe just like get a couple write-ups on her. Her and Niara's friendship is very cute to me. That's a storyline that's a really great one. Kennedy Burke, maybe the tie with her sister Kennedy Burke, Go State. There's so many rich storylines. You just got to get to know them to know how to pitch that. Izzy, like, can she land a beauty deal for real? Like, she has a couple partnerships, but she's a cover girl. Like, we've seen her in The Office magazine. The Office magazine, not The Office people. Yeah. You know, so like there's so many stories. Get to know the girls and like really figure out what their interests are, and it really creates endless possibilities for collaboration.
Thank you.
Of course.
Amazing. Thank you. Ari, thank you so much for being with us today. We learned so much. I really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you more on ESPN.
I see y'all at Barclays tonight. Right?
Yes.
Right.
That's a great way to end the summit, to go there to watch the game. There we go.
Period.
Thank you. Another big round of applause for Ari. Thank you so much again. Thank you all for staying throughout the day, for learning, for participating, for asking a lot of amazing questions. You know, this is definitely for you guys, so make sure that you stay connected with all of us. And now, let me just, as we wrap up, I'd also want to thank our sponsors that are going to, there we go, A&E Global Media, Disney, Hearst, Mattel, Nielsen, the New York City Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, Paramount, Warner Bros. Discovery, and Warner Music Group, as well as our special thanks to our knowledge partner, McKinsey & Company, and of course, our host, Brick Arts Media. A big thank you to all of our speakers, our workshop leaders, staff, interns, networking participants, and all of you. Let's give yourselves and all of the participants a big round of applause. Now, I mentioned we really have been making this for you to continue motivating you. So as a way for you guys to show your appreciation for the day that we've made today, for us and for our incredible partners, we'd love to hear from you so we can go back, hear your opinion, and then make next year's even better. So please take a moment to complete the survey that you have by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen. You can also access it through the event app, and we'll also send it on a follow-up email. But please take your time to answer some of the questions. We really take a look at those, and every time we try to bring them to you. Your feedback is quite valuable, and also as you are filling out the survey, you'll enter in one of the in a raffle to win one of the 3 $50 Amazon gift cards. So we appreciate you taking a moment. I'm giving you guys the moment to save it. Make sure you go back and fill it out. And then once again, a big thank you to our speakers, partners, and all of our community for joining us today. You have the chance now. There'll definitely be a lot of suites out there for you to join. And this is your time to not just I imagine you want to speak with Ari, but also speak with yourselves, network with yourselves, connect with each other, share each other's LinkedIn, help each other out. If you're a filmmaker and you're a director and you want to be a host, help each other out to make sure, because you guys are the next generation of media. And don't forget that we're here to support you guys. Thank you all for coming. We'll be in touch soon. Have a good night.